Let's see, is it rolling? There we go. So, what's it like for you? What's the creative process like for you?
The creative process for me is I think pure luck. Ideas just seem to pop into my head, and I'll write them down and just wind up working on them. And sometimes it's a group of ideas and, that I just work on continuously until I feel comfortable that this is something I would play in public. And I remember one time, Corey, my son, asked me one time, "How do you write instrumentals?" And I said, "Next time I write one, I'll tape it all from beginning to end." Especially with the dobro stuff, it usually comes up. I'll be practicing, and I'll come up with a lick that I really like, and I can hear a bunch of other stuff going along with it. And it might spend weeks just playing with that stuff over and over again until it all lays out to a finished product. Um, my vocal writing and lyrics is something have always done, but never seriously. And I think in the past 2 years, I've gotten real serious about trying to write lyrics. And again, the lines come purely by luck. I'll hear something or read something in a book, and I go, "Man, this is a cool idea for a song," and then I'll work on that idea until it flows into a song, and hopefully other people like. I mean, for a long time I didn't like anything I wrote, but here recently there's stuff I'm writing that I'm liking. So I think it's a long drawn out process to get to where you like your own stuff.
It's true. It's true. Kind of get comfortable with it, and like your instrumental stuff has always had a lot of a lot of really cool different elements in it. Like there's a drive to it. There's kind of a funkiness to it, some of it, and definitely some blues in there. How would you describe or characterize, the melting pot of your particular influences?
Well, the melting pot for stuff like that, like you said, some of it's kind of funky and some of it's straightforward bluegrass feeling. And I listen to a lot of different stuff. I mean, Grateful Dead, Hendrix, uh, just all kinds of stuff. I mean, I even listen to classical music that some of it I really like. Not a huge classical fan, but some of it is really cool stuff. And it's just, I think it's just listening to the other different music. Plus all the years that I've been playing, I've played rock and roll, lap steel, and country and bluegrass, and I think that just kind of all comes together, and I think it can all fit together.
So you never drew any lines in the sand, be like, I'm not gonna, this is. It was never like exclusive or restricted for you.
No, I mean there's some stuff that I won't listen to, but I gave it a try. I mean I'm not a rap fan at all. I'm not a hip hop fan, but I've listened to it to see, because you never know. Music to me is an outlet for everybody, even people that don't actually do it. Listening to music is an outlet. It calms people down, and I know that there was times that when I'm working my day job as a crane operator, I come home just mad, just hating the world, and I'll pick up my guitar, and within 10 minutes I'm just mellowed out. So I think that's music can do that for everybody. People just have to enjoy it and kick back and relax and listen to it.
It's got some healing qualities to
Exactly.
it for the
Yeah,
soul
I
and
definitely
everything.
believe music is huge, because I know there's a couple times I've said, "This is enough. I quit. I'm never playing again." And within 2 weeks, my wife is going, "You need to play your guitar because you're just getting flat ass mean." And so I guess it's true. It is a huge healing quality for me. I mean, I know when I was a high school kid, I was evidently pretty mean and didn't realize it. And I seem to have lost all that since I picked up the music. And I always feel good when I'm picking, and I will always pick.
How would you talk about getting into the flow? Because you're a kind of musician, and not all of them are like this. Maybe even most of them aren't like this. You can hear a song for the first time and go with it. It doesn't seem like there's any barrier between you and getting in the flow. Like what's that like for you?
I don't know. people have asked me this question before, and I don't really know how to answer that. I just, like the thing we did last night, the house concert. I was playing your songs, and I just it has a lot to do with being on stage. I play much better on stage, and I love being on stage, and I love playing for other people, and it's almost like I don't even think about it. It's almost like my hands just kind of do it. I've always believed in the theory that if you have to think about it, it's not going to happen. Because by the time you think about it, the time to do it has already passed. So it's a hard question for me to answer because I'm not really sure why it works out that way. I know I go in and play with groups sometimes, the Don David Trio, and he does a lot of James Taylor stuff, and people go, how do you play that? You don't play that all the time. I go, well, it's just a feel, and I think all the licks that I play, the few that I know, will fit anything. I mean, there's different ways. You can play the same lick 100 different ways, so hopefully I can keep fooling people.
Shoot, I don't know if there's any fooling to it. It's maybe that's a big part of it. Having some a few tools that kind of can adapt and stretch and bend to fit any situation, rather than having maybe 10,000 tools, one for each specific purpose.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do too. From the time I started actually trying to be a musician in '75, straight out of high school, I was kind of thrown in a situation where the first band that I wanted to tour with, I'd kind of become friends with, had lost their dobro player. I had only owned a dobro player for 2 weeks. I was trying to be more of a flat picker. Heck, I'd just gone to my first bluegrass festival in 1974, so it hadn't even been a year that I'd been introduced to bluegrass. But they were like, Tuck, man, we really don't need a guitar player. We're looking for a dobro player. I said, man, I can do it. I know I can. And they gave me the chance. They said, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to give you 6 months. You're going to tour with us. You learn all our material. And in 6 months, we'll decide whether or not we think you can stay there. And I wound up playing with that band for 5 years till they broke up. So I never played scales until recently, after talking with Jim Hirsch for a while and listening to the way that guy practices, and to him scales are very important. And since I've started doing it here now, 30 years later, I'm seeing the importance of them. But I didn't back then. It was a jam. I didn't play melody. I played whatever I thought I could fit into the chord progression, and I still do it in a lot of ways. But sometimes now I do search for the melody, and I think, that's helping me grow too. I just love to pick.
How do you think? How does dreaming interact with the creative part of yourself?
Okay, I think that sometimes really big time, and I'll tell you a story that happened just probably 3 or 4 months ago. I had been having problems sleeping, and which I go through sometimes. I'll stay up 3 or 4 nights in a row, can't sleep, and evidently I had gone to sleep. Woke up the next morning, and on my computer is this completely finished song that's called "The Vision." And I asked my wife, I said, "Edwina, you typed something on my computer?" She goes, "No, I had nothing to do with that." And so evidently I wrote this song while I was dreaming, and do not remember doing it, because it has everything that I would put on it, like the CSAC label, and is all there. And it was a totally finished form. I haven't changed anything on it since I started playing it. So I think dreaming can be a huge factor. Isn't that an amazing story? And it amazed me because it was there. I got up the next morning, went to check my email, hit the space bar, screen brightens up, and there's this 8-verse song. And it's kind of political, and I have a lot of political views that I probably don't share with a lot of people because it just ticks a lot of people off. But
How did you did you remember a melody, or did you?
I didn't remember melody. It had the title in big bold letters at the top that said "The Vision," and it had the 8 verses and the chorus. And I actually sat down with it that morning, and within 5 minutes had the melody, and the tune was done. I've already started playing it in my solo act, and some people like it, some people don't, because it's like I say, it does have political innuendos in it, and
Wow, that's that's
so
kind of like automatic creativity or unconscious
it's,
something.
it had to be. Maybe it was conscious, but it wasn't in my car. I had no idea I even did it until it was just there.
That's wild.
I thought so too.
I love that.
It's like become my favorite story.
No doubt. No
But
doubt.
I do believe. I mean, I have dreamed stuff before, and I have part of my writing ability. My process is there's always a pad or a recorder at hand, and because I've woke up in the middle of the night with 3 or 4 lines running through my head, and if I don't write them down, I'm not going to remember them in the morning. So I always write stuff down, and I mean, I got a huge file on the computer. It's just ideas. It might be 1 line, it might be 4, it might just be a couple of words. Like, saw a thing the other day, and I'm not sure if this is not a band's name. It was 3 Cents Short, and they just hit me. So it's on the computer, and I don't know if I'll ever do anything with it someday. But someday I may. So that's kind of where I go with it.
You know, you've spent a lot of time playing with Dale, who's you know, very creative, and he just we were talking about your pick him last night, and Dale said, you know, for as long as I've known Tuck, I've always been able to throw anything at him, and because you know, of course, he doesn't know what he's doing all the time, or he doesn't know where he's going to go, but you know, somehow, you know, some folks like yourself, they can tune into that and kind of predict or at least kind of educated guess and like kind of gamble on where he's
Where
going
they're
to
gonna
go.
go.
What's how would you describe his music and his creativity and what it's like to work with?
Dale's music's great. I mean, the environmental tunes for Florida are just super. But Dale never plays the same song twice, the same way. It's always different. I've gone and rehearsed with him to go do a festival, and he'll do the same tunes, but they're not the tunes we practiced. They're totally different. I love Dale, and Dale's a challenge to pick with. And you're right, you kind of have to anticipate Dale, but I think after years, you've played with Dale, your mom and dad have played with Dale, and they all anticipate kind of, I think whatever Dale's mood is where he's going to go. And that's what I always listen for. The mood that he's playing is pretty much telling me, okay, he's going to go way off this time. And he's not going to the 4, he's going to go to the 5, or he's going to go to the 2, or, you know what, he just changed the whole key to the song. So, and that's just Dale. And I find that exciting. When you don't know what's coming, and you're going to try and fill a hole, to me, that's just fun. Big fun.
No doubt, no doubt. If you were going to give some advice to somebody who was just starting to write or even pick, improvise, or maybe even just start to paint, you know, in general, what kind of like pointers might you give them that have helped you unlock your own creativity?
I just think enjoying it. If you got to enjoy it, and I think that goes with any kind of thing that you pick up seriously. If you're not going to enjoy it, I mean, I run cranes to make money. I don't enjoy running cranes, but I enjoy coming home at night and picking up my dobro and sitting there and not making anything. I took 18 months and did this solo thing, and even though I was not making any money at all, and we just ate up everything in savings, which my wife has always been big into my music. She doesn't care what I do as long as I'm happy. She was very supportive, and I think enjoying it, and you have to enjoy practice, because practice is part of it, and you have to enjoy sitting there and practicing something. I mean, I got licks that sometimes take me a year to learn, because until my hands know how to do it, I can't play it fast, or I can't even use it right. So that's the way it is to me.
Where do you feel like your excuse me? Where do you feel like your creativity is leading you right now? Like what's on the horizon for your songs or tunes?
I think my original stuff is really where I'm headed right now. I'd like to do another. We did a CD last year, and I would love to do another one this year. I've got plenty of material to fill another CD. I would love to do this for a living, but I just haven't had any luck at doing that part of it. Unfortunately, money always gets in the way, and as my wife says, I like money, so that's why I operate cranes. My biggest thrill has always been as a musician is a sideman. I did the solo thing because there was really nobody around here to play with the type of stuff I wanted to do. But I like being the dobro player that stands over in the right corner or the left corner and just plays dobro. I have gotten to where I enjoy singing my own tunes and enjoy singing other tunes. So right now, I think I'm just kind of floating through the ages, trying to play as much music as I can, whether it pays or not. I would surely love to get on to somebody that was working 265 days a year and tour again, because I really love the 10 years that I toured with, 5 years with Harmony Griffiths and then 5 years with Red and Murphy and Company, and which I learned a lot from Red and Murphy, a bunch. I mean, just they're so knowledgeable with the music and especially bluegrass. But I'd be into doing that again in a heartbeat. Just got to make enough to pay the bills.
Amen. Man, hopefully